Draw simple, easy.
Well, hello there guys. Today we're going to be drawing a quick, simple, easy picture of Illumi, or Illumi from Hunter x Hunter. So go ahead and with your pencil and paper, draw yourself a nice, great big circle at home, somewhere towards the top middle part of your page. And this circle is going to be, as usual, the top of this character's head. So I'm going to come all the way in and around. And if I imagine that this circle is going to be split into thirds, so 1/3 about here, 1/3 around about here, and then I'm going to take 1/3 height and drop down again. I'm going to come straight down the middle with a dividing line. I'm going to go around about 1/3, probably actually a little bit more in this instant. He's got quite a long devious face, this character, to around about here. And then once I've got that in place, I'm going to go roughly about halfway between the bottom of the circle and the chin. This kind of distance, this halfway point, is going to be my guide point for where the cheek comes down on one side and then cuts in along the jaw for the bottom of the chin. And then the same on this side, it will come up as it goes to make its way off to the side of the head. Now we're going to be drawing Illumi in his Bloodlust type of mode, so just on the cusp of actually going really dark and weird. So now that we've got this point here on the circle, this 1/3 line is now almost the halfway point of the entire height of the head. This will be where we'll have roughly his cold dead eyes. So if you imagine, we're going to measure in a point that just really fills in the majority of this half of the head and the majority of this half of the head as well. Doesn't go all the way out, gives us a nice bit of gap. And I'm going to go ahead and draw two big semicircles, one around about here, down and up, right back up and in for the bottom of the eye, another up, and then back down and in for the top. And we're going to draw the whole shape of the eye all the way around the line for this character. Same on this side, we're going to go and just have a line that comes all the way down around the bottom and back and up, and again all the way up and back round and down. Now with this character's nose, it's going to drop to a little bit above the bottom of this circle shape, and it's going to be a line which comes right down and in just to the left of our center line, and then really just notches out right at the last point into a small little triangle shape, just like so. And that's going to be a fairly dark, heavy line for some point, a very thin line as it just becomes the nose up the face. But we are going to follow this shape on the left and create his eyebrows as well. So where I've got the eyes, I'm just going to go up and create this kind of creepy hooked eyebrow shape, almost going out to the edge of the eye, but then hooking all the way down like this, and then a similar one on this side at the same height, hooking up and then coming back and hooking down. Now I'm going to get another line in just for the hood of the eye. We'll go around about here. Same thing on this side as well, just following the shape of the top of the eye shape just to get that hood. And for his cold dead eyes, we're going to put in an ellipse which is covered at the bottom, so the bottom of the eye is going below the line, and the top of it we can just about see the top of the curve as it nears the top of the eye. One there, and then a similar thing on this side, up, round and down there. This character's eyes, because he's such a cold dead killer, they have no light reflection spots in them, they're just black and dark. Now the mouth is going to be a little bit just above where we've got our jawline hooking back in, so I'm going to go around about above here to about this height, and I'm going to go from the center of this eye here, if you imagine that's our edge point, and the center of this eye here, those are going to be the limits of the mouth on either side. So I'm just going to have a little divot right in the middle, just like so, a tiny little, if you imagine a super tiny smiley mouth, and then I'm going to just let it drop down and hook up at the end like this, and same here, drop down and hook up right at the end like that. Then a line underneath just to show where the lip is, a tiny thin line up top as well, something like so. Now with the rest of this character, we've got quite a close-up picture of him here. So I'm going to get a neckline that is just on the inside edge of the pupil, so just wider than the mouth line on either side. And if you imagine a line that goes straight across, about level with the bottom of the chin, and its width is about as wide as the head. So I'm going to come about here and about here and just create this box shape, which is going to be his collar. I'm going to give it a slight bit of curve for the line at the bottom. And then what we're going to do is right down the middle of this collar, we're going to have a tiny gap to just draw another line down here, curve it off a bit, and then wider than this gap, I'm just going to have a bar that drops straight off and down. And this is going to represent the front of his top. Once you've got that bar going down in the middle, get another very thin line, even thinner than the gap to the collar, right down there as well. Have a quick double check. Everything is nice and in focus. And then we can just start to get off the rest of the shape of the body. So fairly simple for the shoulder setup here. We're going to go about another width of the head off to the left, and another width of this head, this distance here, off to the right as well. This will be the extent of where his arms or his shoulders essentially just drop off the page. So going from this collar point, I'm going to just curve ever so gently down and out. Same here, ever so gently down and out. And I'm going to stop around about here before I get to the end. And I'm just going to create a curving line, just copy this shape here, and another one here just to show where the edges of his top really are. Like so. Then he's got his bare arms coming out, so you just need a circle or a curve that just comes off the side to be one part of his shoulder. Same over here. Shoulders just coming out there. And then I'm going to put in a few very sort of simple downward arrows or V's, just to show the crease of his top about here. And again, around about there. And he's got his needles that stick into his chest. Now these we're only seeing the very ends of, just the circular ends. So you can just map out very loosely. He's going to have a circle around about here to be one needle, one head of a pin, and then another one slightly lower as it goes on the inside, just about here. Probably going to see the top of another one dropping off the page, like so. And then we'll just do the exact same on this side as well, just mirror where they are. So there's one about here, one further up and out over here, and another one's going to be just off the bottom of the page over there. In fact, I can probably bring this in just a little bit, ever so slightly, but otherwise we've got most of this down already. So let's talk about his hair. His hairline, because of the angle that we're looking at this character, is quite low. His hairline is going to be fairly high up. So this top third space in the circle that we've got here, I'm going to go halfway in there again and say that's where we're going to have the top of this hairline, space about here. And there might be the odd strand of hair, if you just follow a shape like this, that drops past the eye and then kind of curls out and back and away. Just going to have a strand that does that. The rest of the hair, after a very shallow zigzag pointy setup at the top, is going to kind of come down off the side of the face. It's very lank and dank, and just slowly curve back past the shoulders. And it's just going to do this. I'll get another kind of stroke of hair in there, doing a very similar thing. Again, as we just come round, I'm just using the gentle curve of the pencil. My hand is quite far back on the pencil here, just to get some really gentle curving lines going in. There are of course a few strands that drop down the front, maybe one or two just peek out there, another one just curls in something like so. And then up on the top part as well, hairline will just kind of give a bit of volume to the top of the head there, and just have maybe another couple of strands that just come off here, because it's just on the cusp of when this character is going to lose his composure into his bloodlust mode. So his Nen energy is just kicking in. On this side as well, a very similar thing. It's all kind of branching out from this fairly central parting. It's covering more of the face on the right hand side. So it's here on the right, coming down, I'd say, just covering the very outside edge of this eye. And maybe just because we've got another strand that will come in and just reach across something like that, just as it's kind of catching the wind, so to speak. And then the rest of the hair again is going to come down on this side. Maybe a few other bits just curling around the front. You don't have to be perfect with those. You can draw them any way you want and just play around with it. When it comes to the hair and it's in the wind, any kind of design that follows a similar pattern will do the trick. Then again, top of this hair, I'm just going to follow around a few other bits as it starts to curve round the back. Now there's much more volume on this side. We're looking ever so slightly from the right of the character, so I'm going to see a lot more hair coming down on this side here before it disappears off around the back. Again, with a few odd random strands just doing their own thing, just starting to curl up and get caught in his energy and presence, just like so. I might not go with all of these around the edge, but it kind of gives you the idea of what we've got going on. So now that I've got these lines just indicating where all of the hair goes, really right behind there, most of his hair is going to be in darkness. I will just show a bit of an edge of an ear on this side here, just like so, just get a little bit of that shape in. But otherwise, most of his hair coming down will have some zones of highlight. So if you imagine around about here is where I'm going to put in a lot of zigzags to represent reflected light. And again, around about here, we'll get some zigzag light coming in. Similar thing on this side as well. And I'm just marking this out with a pencil just to let you know roughly where I'm going to put that in when it comes to colouring in this picture at the end. But for right now, we've got the basics down. Let's have a quick look through the camera phone. Lovely. Bear in mind, to make this guy really creepy, we're going to be playing around with some shadow. So I'll probably have an area of shadow right around here, as well as at the top of the bridge of the nose, to show he's being lit a little bit from underneath. There'll probably be shadow up here around the lip, as well as from the bottom of the chin being cast up, and all round the bottom of his eyes, making him look super creepy. There'll be zones of shadow all round here, and the forehead area will be in darkness as well. So, I hope you guys found this to be useful for drawing your own picture of creepy Illumi before he does something nasty. I'm going to drop into some time lapse, put an inking layer on here so you can see which lines we're keeping and which lines we're getting rid of, and I'll see you in just a second. And there we have it, a nice quick simple picture of Illumi from Hunter x Hunter. So back when we had the pencil lines around, those triangles of space we had below the eyes, this zone in nose shadow, as well as the whole of the forehead, it's all going to be dark and in shadow because everything is lit from underneath. That means the neck area will be in shade, and all the pins, these are great big circles that are popping out the front, they're spheres. The top of them are going to be in shadow, and the underside of this golden colour is going to be well lit up from below. The top is in a dark green, these edges are in white or silver, a very pale flesh tone to this character, and dark black purplish hair, again with some strips of light just to show the actual texture of the hair itself. Well, that's what it's going to look like when I scan it in and colour it. I hope you guys found this to be useful. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, a like and a subscribe to the channel if you're not already following along. You can always check out my Patreon channel where this stuff's available. I get all the artwork out there and you guys support, which is great. But otherwise guys, get in the comments, who do you want next time? And have a lovely week. Take care.